Why does Salt Lake City need an inland port? The answer is it doesn't, and shouldn't, for a host of reasons. The port has no public purpose. It is a slippery land deal that private capital won't touch without Utah state financial backing. $40 million desperately needed for shamefully underfunded K-12 education should never be diverted to a project that does not benefit a huge majority. Worse, the port's morally challenged promoters could do irreversible harm to the state's capital city, the world headquarters of the LDS Church, and critical habitat for migrating birds. Utah's economy is doing extremely well without the port, so why gamble on increasing toxic air and traffic gridlock when public health and a dynamic economy are at risk? Hypocritical Republican legislators who disdain programs that help the poor are perfectly comfortable throwing money at rich, greed-driven developers who have refused to reveal how the money will be spent. If the inland port is such a great idea, private investors would be lining up to pour money into it. But the port is a wild, speculative scheme that requires state backing for a $150 million bond. And if it fails, the taxpayer has to pick up the tab. This is a scam, pure and simple. The Wasatch Front has a long history of violating EPA clean air standards. Let's face it, our air currently is unfit to breathe. And for the state to help finance a huge new source of pollution is beyond reckless, particularly since the Inland Port Authority refuses to provide an environmental impact study because they know the results would bring the project to a screeching halt. In 1952, a London fog, polluted by coal-burning stoves, took 8,000 lives in just 4 days. A recent New York Times article revealed that one day Salt Lake City recorded the most polluted air in the world. Under the right circumstances, trapped Wasatch Front pollution could be even more lethal than the London fog because of increased levels of PM 2.5 and ozone locked in for extended periods. Claiming the project will be green is preposterous. The speed with which fossil fuels are replaced with electricity is a goal, not a reality. Until the nation goes all electric, an inland port on the Wasatch Front is the worst possible place at the wrong time. If Utah had a real representative democracy where the will of the majority was respected, there would never be an inland port in Salt Lake City or in any other city that flat out doesn't want it. And why? A huge majority doesn't want one. Many are already aware their air quality is tenuous as well as highway traffic, and they want growth that enhances life, not compromises it. The state legislature has no right to impose its will on any community. It is an unjustifiable tyranny. Salt Lake citizens support the state. Now it's time for the state to support the community. The oil refinery to the north has been a curse to the surrounding area, particularly Bountiful. Thank God its days are numbered. Utah County prospered once the steel mill was gone, and Davis County will prosper also once refinery disappears. For the state to force a noisy, smelly, polluting facility on unwilling citizens is a criminal act, but to stop this unwanted disaster will require a spirited public outcry. The Salt Lake Valley lies at the base of Mount Olympus and Kings Peak, two iconic mountains that create an extraordinary setting unlike no other. The valley is a special place, a holy place for Indians and early settlers, and should be respected and protected for its beautiful setting. Salt Lake City should never be a legitimate location for an oil refinery or an inland port. Utah has been spared hurricanes, tornadoes, and floods, but now it faces a monumental threat of cosmic proportions. Climate change threatens everyone and everything, the city, the state, the nation, and the planet. A pitiful inland port can only contribute to the potential catastrophe. God help us.